Alright, excuse me. So this is a tutorial for the Asian characters, the Chinese like symbols, which is actually words, letters. First things first, get your materials. Need ink. Baby food jars are the perfect delivery system for ink. You're supposed to have a bamboo brush, but we're going to use watercolor brush. It's like some kind of natural squirrel hair or something. You should have a cup of water. It's like a little dirty, but it doesn't really matter in this case. I have several of these little worksheets here for you to help you with, you even have some history about, from the early pictographs and the oracle bones. They used to heat up like animal bones, and whatever the cracks were, they would use those and replicate those. And then those evolved into pictographs, which evolved a little more. But Asian symbols are still very stylized and like pictorial, kind of like hieroglyphics or whatever. But anyway, so I'm going to teach you just some basic techniques on how to paint them or whatever. Now, I don't hold the brush like you're supposed to hold the brush, partially because I'm left-handed, but other part is because I'm not really teaching you how to do it just how they do it. And it's kind of like a lost art. It's an old art, but in any case, you're gonna be practicing on this newsprint. It's very cheap and abundant paper, so don't waste it, don't eat it, but use as much as you need to get done what you need to get done. Always have your model in front of you. We're gonna do just a couple symbols. So first things first, you might want to stand up when you're doing this. I can't really stand up, I'm gonna sit down, but stand up when you're doing it. Go ahead and dip your brush in the water. And what you got to notice is when you're painting these symbols, if you see a very thick part, that's usually where it starts. Okay, and then as it thins out, obviously you're easing the pressure of your brush. Actually, let me use a bigger brush here. All right, so just dry it off a little bit. You want it to wet a little bit because that ink is kind of thick. So I'm going to charge my brush up. That's a lot of ink. So now I'm going to, you kind of just hold the brush kind of loose, like you're painting. Up it's dripping. And we're going to make an impression, and then we're going to just come down. Now you want to do it that first, I kind of messed up there by going back. But you want to make it like that first kind of swoop the first time. Now, my second part of my character here, it's a little thick there, and then I'm going to hit here, and I'm going to do a little loop. 1, 2, and loop up, okay? So, think about the line you're going to execute. Put your paintbrush down, come over, loop. Just like that, okay? Now, unfortunately, this isn't big enough, so a lot of time I let students go in and kind of manipulate it a little bit. Obviously, that needs to be a little fatter, so we got to go in and do it like that. And I ask students to do that all the time. They may go in and kind of refine it a little bit. And I'm cool with that, but I want you to understand the philosophy behind it as well. So, and this ink is really dark. You can go in and add a little water. It'll stretch the ink out a little bit. Let me show you this other technique that you can do with this. So we're going to wash our brush out completely, right? Just about completely. Just get as much of the ink out as we possibly can, right? Then we're going to dip it in the water again. I dried it off. I'm going to dip it in the water again. Trust me, there's some ink still in there, right? And we're going to give it like a little shadow type thing behind it. Makes for an interesting effect. Uh-oh. But you might want to let it dry first, I guess. Still not dry. Well, we'll do it that way. Sometimes it picks up the ink from the thing. We don't really want that. I really want just this grayed out kind of shadow behind it. There we go. That's better. Okay. Then even if you want to like really make it cool, kind of have something behind it, like we'll do strength, because that's like the symbol for strength. We put peace underneath it, but peace will be like smaller and more like washed out. Kind of so dip it in a little bit of ink. So I'm gonna come over, and I'm doing this peace sign right here. So follow me with the hooks and everything. Notice it starts off like that. Taper off. That was a bad line, but you know, you get it. Feather there. Actually, I need a thinner brush. I'd be scared to get a thinner brush. I'm just trying to make it all small and thin and using that big old brush. Alright. I got my box here, so I'm gonna come up. Try to brush a little more, come up. Come over. Hook down. Alright. Need to refine that a little bit. Dip it just a little water. Carry this out a little more. Maybe that a little better. See, even I be messing up sometimes. But you know, can't be perfect all the time. I'm perfect enough sometimes. It's a joke. It's not very nice. I don't really like that one, but you know, you get the gist, right? All right. So, but remember, the thing I want you to notice is, you know, in some of these, like, you can have all these different kind of shadowed out effects, even if you had color. Like, I'm gonna introduce color later on into the project. Remember, it should go, you know, in tandem with your kind of, with the whole philosophy of your piece. You know, if I'm doing power, then I would, you know, find a Buddhist quote that, you know, speaks about power, or a Confucius quote, maybe a Sun Tzu quote or something like that, and you know, and go from there. So you put it together in your composition, and that's it. All right.